Hi, everyone. It is your girl, Dr. Nisa. We're so happy that you decided to be with us today for the Boss Up Hub with Dr. Nisa. You know who I am. I'm Dr. Nisa, nationally recognized chiropractor and business coach. I help entrepreneurs start their business by successfully giving them the blueprint to start their business without making costly mistakes so they can do what? Turn your dreams into dividends. So I'm in Macon, but my guest is in beautiful Atlanta. And so we're going to be talking today about COVID-19 and how it has affected our bottom line. All
Yeah.
right. And I know that everybody wants to know how businesses are being affected by COVID. And if you have questions, please ask because you have two experts on the panel today that are able to give you some insight into business as well. Now, a little bit about Dr. June. This was my roomie when she was in medical school and I was in chiropractic school. Isn't that amazing? Yes, yes, it was. And
Yes,
we
it was.
had the wonderful um, opportunity to be at a wonderful church at that time. And we were just on fire for God when we yes. So I just want to give her a few accolades because I'm so proud of her. Dr. Ju is a certified OBGYN. She is doing her thing. She has been in business for 15 years. Do you guys know how hard that is to sustain a business for 15 years? I know that is it. And guess what? Not only has she done that, she has had the opportunity to serve for the Atlanta Medical Association as president. So she's the past president, and we'll get her to talk about that a little more. So I could go on and on and on and talk to you about Dr. Ju, but nobody can tell you about Dr. Ju like Dr. Ju. Okay, so introducing the wonderful Dr. Ju. Take it away. Introduce yourself.
All righty. So thank you so much for having me, Rumi. So let me clarify. I've been practicing medicine for 15 years, but this year marks the ninth year that I've been in my own practice.
Awesome.
So I'm not as long as you, but no, 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 no. I had to go through some growing pains first, and yeah, kind of grow to that. So, anywho, I am from Pennsylvania. Came down here to go to Clark Atlanta University. Always, I went to school to go to medical school, but when I graduated, I just didn't feel that I was ready yet. So I actually taught school in the Atlanta Public School for a couple of years, science and health, and then I went back to school. So Morehouse School of Medicine is my alma mater as well as Clark, and I went back to Pennsylvania. Oh Lord, for residency, and I tell people, cold as an adult is different than cold as a child. My mama had to force us to come back in and warm up. You're gonna get frostbitten. And as an adult, I was like, oh Lord, please let these 4 years go by quickly. So been back since 2005, and I was practicing in a group, wonderful group out at the Cab Medical Center. But then I stepped out on faith and started my own practice. So if I knew my old room dog was helping businesses, sure enough, I would have called down to make it and be like, help a sister out. Because I did it really just, talking to folks and, trying to find mentors. And
hmm
I read a lot. I read a lot about business. I do not have my MBA. And it's a scary thing because I don't know about life where you went, but they don't teach you the business of medicine when you're in school.
They don't. You're awesome practitioner, awesome physician, but you
Right.
don't learn a thing about business 101.
No, no. And so that definitely in 9 years, I have had to learn a lot. So, um, yeah. So there's more I could say, but I want to get this conversation rolling because people want
Yes, and we got some good folks that are listening with us today. We have Dr. Erica that's on the line. Don't we love Dr. Erica?
we love
Ain't she
Dr. Erica.
wonderful? I mean,
Family
smooching, smooching. Oh,
sister.
oh yes,
Yeah,
that's
you.
peak and green hugs to you, Erica. We'll just have us an AKA party here, right? So today we're going to be talking about. Oh, hey, Ron, thanks so much for joining us. Hey, Dion, thanks for joining us. So we're going to be talking about COVID-19 and the bottom line today. So, I mean, just kind of tell our audience today a little bit how COVID has really affected your business.
Ooh, okay, so I will say this. We were just talking a little bit offline. I was teasing about my mom and how my mother has, I guess, in the 6 weeks that I keep telling folks, when the pandemic became a thing, like it's been around, but in these here United States, it became a thing. When I told folks when the NBA decided, yeah, won't be a winner, won't be a champion for 2020. When the NCAA, I was like, whoa, wait a minute, huh? I mean, when the kids' school said, yeah, Friday will be their last day, that was
Right,
something. But when the NBA and NCAA, I was like, whoa, we got to make some changes up in here, up in here.
right.
And so the very first thing that I did was have a meeting with my staff. I did a Zoom conference call on a Sunday night and said, okay, ladies, this is what we're going to do. Let's huddle. We're going to start off by making some changes in the office because at that point, nobody was talking about masks. We
Mm-hmm.
were barely talking about literal 6 feet of social distancing. So I said, but I have about 6 staff members on most days. And on Wednesdays, I have an ultrasound tech in the office. So I was like, there's a lot of us in the office. So why don't 3 of you stay home and 3 of you come in? And we're going to alternate. So we tried to make some adjustments just with the presence in the office. And basically, hopefully, not only was that a way for me to show my staff that I actually cared about
Yeah.
them and their health, but the patients too. The patients too. So we started off with that. But I'll tell you, 6 weeks later, last week actually, I had to make another decision. But in the 6 weeks, I'll tell you, I've gone from just decreasing staff presence in the office to having to furlough half of my staff
Mm-hmm.
to now deciding to reduce the hours for the rest of us. And that is because we want people to be healthy. That's the
Right.
whole thing. That's why we went into healthcare. And patients were calling, rescheduling, pushing their appointments back. And so I decreased. Last week was probably my lowest volume. And I literally had a quarter of the patients that I would normally
Right.
normally see. And also as a, GYN surgeon, no
None of
surgeries.
that. No surgeries.
No
That's what the
surgeries.
big bucks are, people. So I get it. I definitely understand. So let's just say hello to some folks. We got Tiffany on.
Hi.
She's a healthcare practitioner as well.
Yeah.
Um, we can talk about Tiffany for days, because she's one of those reality TV stars, healthcare providers, but we'll talk about her another time. Teddy,
I
thanks for
get it.
joining us today. Thank you, Keisha, for joining us today. So, okay, so we're at a fourth of our patient traffic, which means that three-fourths of our revenue for the last 6 weeks has been affected. And now
Absolutely.
we're having to make these life decisions about how we're going to take care of our family, because that's what staff is for us. It is family, and nobody ever wants to be in that type of position
Mm-mm,
to
mm-mm.
do that. Now, did you consider, like many of us, doing any of the idols or any of the PPP loans so that
Right.
you can have that income to come in to keep your staff working?
So here's the thing. The conversations were there the first week, but by the time you heard about a PPP, I had already, pulled the trigger. The first round, right?
Hmm.
So my staff was already furloughed. But I'll tell you this: being a business owner, and like you said, treating your staff like members of your family is very important. And people don't understand that you take the roles of your practice, your business home with you, right? It
Right.
doesn't end at 5 p.m. when everyone clocks out. You take that home with you. And so I was very concerned. That's why I had the first meeting, the first Sunday. And then about 8 days later is when I said, okay, ladies, we're going to have another conversation. So we got on Zoom and we discussed it. And I started talking to my financial advisor and my CPA and said, what does this look like for them? I've got in a number of groups. I think that many of us are involved in a lot of social media groups, but a couple in particular really helped me because they are practice owners.
Right.
And people started talking about how their staff were able to not only qualify for whatever state they're in, their unemployment insurance, but they were also getting the federal dollars when and if it came about. And so when it came about, the guilt and the pressure that I felt, I was like, okay, they're going to be taken care of. Even if
Right.
just for a little while, they'll be taken care of. And that did my heart glad because I didn't feel like I was leaving people just in the lurch.
Right.
Some of these folks, I'll tell you, and they'll tell you that I called them up personally,
Right.
and said, hey, will you come work for Dr. Jew? So knowing that some people left other jobs with other big name entities in the
Right.
city to come and work for little old me, and now I'm having to pull this trigger, that was a little concerning for me. But we also keep we also keep each other encouraged. We are all on our little text message. We send memes here and there, encouraging words, funny pictures. And I do that and hope that we'll continue because I just want people to be encouraged and know that we're going to get back on
We're
the
going
other
to get through
to
this.
another side. I don't know if we're
Right.
going to get back to how it used to be. And
Right.
there are a lot of lessons in what's going on,
Oh, yes.
but
Yes.
we'll get to another side of this.
Yeah. I think this is very interesting that Tiffany has said. She says that, my part-time people are getting more being unemployed, and I think that's an interesting conversation to have. Will people want to come back at the same status? Are they going to be asking for more money to continue to do the service that they do for you in your office, knowing that, when they were furloughed and on unemployment, they were receiving, some people $900 a week, so how do you have that interesting conversation when the folks that you did lay off come back? I'll tell you, for me, before you answer that, I didn't furlough anybody. I'm still paying everybody because what I didn't want to have was that conversation
Right.
when they came back asking me for more for more money because you're not gonna get it.
But can I
So
tell you? Can I tell you though? There was an interesting article about a lady out of Washington State who owns a couple of spas, and she got the PPP the first round. And she says in the article, it's like the Seattle Times, if you want to find it. She was like, she did a whole, video conferencing with her staff members. She goes, guess what? Guess what? I got the loan. And they nearly cursed her out. They were like, excuse you? I was about to have to come up. What you talking about? They were mad. They're upset. And so how we
yeah,
One of my staff members, I won't name her, she told the other staff members, which I said it sounded so much better coming from her than it would from me. She said, y'all better save y'all money. This ain't lasting forever.
That's
But
right.
but the excitement, though, is it will be helpful because what people don't realize, even though, what is it as of today, 31 states have our stay-at-home shelter-in orders are like 7 of them today, I guess, are going to expire at midnight, and 31 states are having plans to reopen. That is not back to just business as usual. Even my hospital that I work out of, one of the Piedmont facilities, is allowing us to do surgery. I'll be doing surgery for the first time next week. My
Oh,
surgery
wow.
day is Thursday. It will be the first time next week, but I'm only doing outpatient cases because I
Okay.
don't want to expose my patients in the hospital setting for
Right.
longer than they need. And who knows what, the ramifications of us opening up last week may be in the coming days. So we're making those adjustments. But like I share with some of our other colleagues, I have, the guilt that I was having back in the beginning of this whole thing has definitely gone away.
That's good.
Here's the issue, though. The federal dollars end in 13 weeks, unless they just about to go back to Congress and start to expand that. You're going to continue to get, here in the state of Georgia, you're going to continue to get the unemployment insurance forever, for not forever, but for however long that lasts, like 26 weeks or something. But that extra $600 by the 4th of July, you're going to be looking like, oh man, this is what it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So using it to their advantage. Here's my thing with my business. I already had to look at the volume of patients that I had and made a decision last week to close my office on Mondays and Fridays. We are only open Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and we schedule patients between certain set of hours so that my staff that I have remaining will still be able to help me see patients. They're able to help me see my patients. They're able to answer the questions. I do telehealth visits
Mm-hmm.
other days as well, which has been phenomenal. And I didn't even just start because of COVID. I had actually called my EMR company to get set up in January. So God's timing is everything.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I was able to just move right on in.
You did the hard
And
pivot that many of us have had to do. Let me tell a couple of people hello. Um, um, hey Bobby, how you doing? Hey Dr. Hassan, Dr. Ferlandi, thank you so much for joining in, and Darylyn, thanks so much for joining in today. So we made the hard pivot, and you did it well in advance than everybody, because this is the time that you need to be doing telehealth, because it is a game change. It is a game changer. Oh,
mhm.
look, see, Tiffany, we be on it. It is a game changer. For you, you're still able to give the counseling, the consultations, to your patients, and still be able to generate some revenue for your business. Unfortunately, you can't do surgery that way, but you can still, get people their prescriptions, get what you need. They'll get the care that they need and move forward. Here's my
Yeah.
question to you. Okay, when it comes to the elective surgeries, I know that you, as a physician, you decided to make a hard choice that you didn't want to expose your family, your staff or your patient, to unnecessary exposure in the hospital. But were they allowing? Was that the only hospital that was allowing elective surgeries, or did any of the hospitals in Atlanta say, "Hey, no elective surgeries at this
Oh, it
time"?
was no elective. I have privileges at an Emory hospital as well as a Piedmont, and there were no elective surgeries. Period. They just are bringing that back ever since the governor's announcement last week. So
Okay.
this week, starting the week of the 27th, they're starting to try to pull those patients back that we've had to cancel or postpone, and bring those back up. And so it's going to be a while, I'm sure, before we can get back up to full speed. So for me, I was just saying that those cases that, the hysterectomy, the patients that have an open case or something that would typically need to stay in the hospital, I want everyone going home. We
Right.
want to minimize and limit. Same thing I do in my office. We tried our best. Yesterday we had a very busy day because, again, I'm now closed Friday and Monday. And so we had a lot of patients coming in. And I said to front desk, I was like, listen, we've got to continue. I don't care how long or when the statewide order and when it shifts. We're in healthcare. So we know
Right.
that we have to do the best for our patients. So we were, up until yesterday, we have one patient in the whole building or one in the lobby. As soon as the other one comes in,
Mm-hmm.
she would, room her so that there's no,
That's no crossing.
no crossing.
Right.
Some patients today elected to sit in their car. I kept looking at my schedule, on my electronic medical records, and I was like, CAR, what does that stand for? And I was like,
Right.
oh. I was
Car.
like, what
That
room
is,
is that? And I was like,
hey,
oh, she's sitting in her
Dr.
car.
That is part of our whole COVID response. So when we got started, when everything was starting up, we were trying to stay in front of it because we have we keep clean houses and clean um, practices anyway. Okay, but we came up with a process way before
Mhm.
some things were mandated that you do in your office, and one of the things that we started doing a long time ago was we were going to have patients to sit in their car. When they got there, they were going to call the office, let us know that they were there. And when it was time for them to come in, we were going to call them to come in.
Right.
We're doing similar situations like you are in your office because we actually are seeing patients Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, no Thursday, no Friday. And because in the beginning I was seeing patients every day.
Right.
And I was like, okay, I got to see about me now.
Yeah.
I'm taking care of all these folks every day. And every day when I'm coming home, Dion is like, are you bringing home the COVID? That's what he's saying to me. And so I
Right.
had
Right.
to make a hard decision to pivot in my office to think about my exposure and the exposure to my family. So 3 days a week, it gives you enough time to really thoroughly clean the office out and start all over again. So
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
get it, but when you've grown so accustomed to seeing the volume that you were seeing and to shut down for 2 days, it's definitely can feel it in your pocket
You
as you go
can.
back. So what are some things that you're implementing outside of telehealth that is helping you to bring more income into your business? Because I know these are obstacles, but I do like talking about opportunities during COVID as
Oh,
well.
yeah. There are definite opportunities. And, I've heard therapists say, psychologists and ministers say, you need to be better, you need to make a change for the better um, at the end of this COVID season or on the other side of this. And I was determined not only was I not going to get fatter after this, but I was also going to make
We'll have to
some
go to Dr. Ferlandi for that because she'll help you with that COVID-15 if you got any. That's what she does. But go ahead.
right. And so I'm doing my intermittent fasting and I walk with my boys and things like that. But guess what happened about maybe 2 or 3 weeks before the pandemic became a thing? Guess what Dr. Jew did? I done signed a contract with a new company to offer some new options in my office because I deal not only with women's health, but I do female sexual health. I do vaginal rejuvenation. I've got
Oh,
this new, yeah, and then COVID came.
right.
And guess who's got to make payments on stuff that she signed contracts to? So what we literally had to do was make some phone calls and say, okay, now this is not just me thing. You do understand that. And most of the companies were very, very understanding. I had one company that said, Oh, you think you got problems? We got creditors too. And I literally wrote an email and said, I pay you faithfully every month on the 24th. I'm coming to you. We've been in a agreement for 18 months now.
Oh wow.
You really gonna trip on me?
You're not new. This is not a new contract.
You get your money
Right.
and they literally told me this is a family owned business and sorry about you and your COVID issues. And I said, you take your money, you go ahead and take it, but I will be stopping payment. And I said to my sister today, she works with me in the office. I said, did you notice that nice little email we got yesterday? It said, we're in this together.
Exactly.
we, we all have to pivot. We all have to pivot. And so the one thing that I know that I do well is help women with their female sexual dysfunction. Guess what else I just did in February? I'm
I'm
running
all
for all
ears.
of this. I just completed new commercials. So my commercials are being seen up in Buckhead and Brookhaven, Lithonia, Decatur, Snellville, and COVID hits. And I'm telling people, come talk to Dr. Jude. She can help you out. But guess what? I still can because I got telehealth.
That's
But you
right.
understand what I'm saying. Commercials are not free. They
Right.
cost me something. I
Right.
did these great commercials and they're still running. But thanks to the folks that I work with, we just met yesterday and they're like, you want us to change the message? Yeah, tell folks that telehealth visits are available. So when we're on the other side of this, I plan right now, people are home. You gonna start seeing my messages down in Macon because I'm
Right.
gonna make sure it expands,
Spread, honey. Spread the land. Spread the
spread.
land.
Like I don't need to just stay in a small radius up here in Metro Atlanta. So I'm ready for it. I've been doing webinars. I've been, giving some information out there. Did one last Wednesday in a group, and then last Saturday doing one next week Saturday. I decided to postpone to invite a urologist on to talk to the men folks who have male sexual
Right.
dysfunction too. I think it's a time for people to learn. As people tease about YouTube University, you can figure out how to paint your fireplace. You can
Oh
figure
yeah.
out how to do some things. But from
The lady
a
built a house
business,
from foundation up on off of YouTube.
absolutely. So for my business, I signed up for a course that Johns Hopkins was offering. I'm learning stuff. That's what I do when I'm not here and I'm not doing telehealth visits. I'm going to be smarter. I plan on being thinner. I'm not trying to get fatter. I'm telling you.
I
Mm-mm.
know that's right. So let's say hello to some more folks that have come on. Mary, thanks so much for watching. We have a lot of sorority sisters that are watching tonight. Our sorority sister Kendall is here tonight. Our sorority sister Dr. Shauna, you know her too, and
Yeah.
we're just so happy for you guys to be tuning in tonight. So listen, COVID has really changed a lot of things. And I guess for my last question that I have for you is I know you had some things that was in the work before COVID came, but if you had like one really big wow thing that you have learned from COVID that is going to change your entire business model once we go back to our new norm, what is that one thing that you've learned from COVID that you're going to do definitely different and
Mhm.
continue in your practice?
I think we've said it before. I think learning to pivot is the number one thing because just because you've done something the same way, and it may have worked the first 6 months, 6 years, or whatnot, sometimes we have to take some time. We should, as business owners, take more time to look behind the scenes. And now that I have way more time on my hands, I have opportunity to look at things from a patient perspective,
Mhm.
from a potential vendor perspective. I walk through my office sometimes and say, how does that look even to my patient? How does that Are we doing things that are necessary? It has given me time to look and say, there will be some changes
Right.
post COVID. Not, and it is for the bottom line, but it's for health, it's for safety, it's for longevity. There are a lot of aspects of it. I've told other practitioners as well, when we're post COVID, it doesn't mean that I may still be closed on Fridays.
Girl,
What you gonna say? What you gonna say? What you gonna say?
I just got it out my mouth. I said, it sure has been nice being off Thursday and Friday. Just have to figure out how to keep everybody on those 3 days. Mm.
So those things, and we'll grow and we'll open up. So I have a second location that I just started a year ago. March was our 1 year anniversary. And that was it. The location is up in Brookhaven, right a mile away from Lenox and Phipps Plaza. And so I was actually looking for a another location instead, not a third, but changing where I currently
Mhm.
am. And I went on ahead and closed that office because we're dealing with COVID,
COVID. Mhm.
right? So I'm in a timeshare in that space in this building we're purchasing. So I have more control over even the cleanliness, if you get
Yeah.
my point. But when I'm in another space with other people, I may not be able to do that. Well, guess what? It just so happened to become a coronavirus testing site.
Oh,
And I
wow.
said, well, my patients aren't going to want to show
That's
up
right.
with
It's with that. That's
lines and
right.
lines
The
of
people.
cars.
That's
So
more exposure. Yeah.
we just made choices, and the patients are still coming because they're still seeing the commercials, the advertisements that I put out. And I go, well, you're going to eventually be back. So we'll come and we'll still see you because they still have needs.
Right.
They still have needs. Someone questioned me early on why I was even still open. And I said, because I'm in healthcare and people still have issues. But you're not seeing COVID-19 patients. I said, but do you understand that people still have needs? And
Right.
I tell you, that I had literally in a 2 week span, 4 patients that I know would have ended up at the hospital
Right.
because of whatever the issue was, HIPAA. And I said, well, thank the Lord that I was able to, assist them and help them. So I feel like the changes that I've made have kept not only my patients safe, and healthy, because some folks come in for what you do for a living. They may
Right.
come with another reason. You take a blood pressure and you're like,
Right.
ma'am. And she
Okay.
goes, oh, I ran out of my prescription. Well, here, let me send that in for
That's
you.
right.
We're trying to take care of
That's
people.
right. Because at
And
the
like
end of the
you were
day,
saying, you
yeah,
limit certain patients.
yeah,
We tell patients, we're not going to sit here and charge you for a no-show fee. We have to pivot to help our patients as well. I'm
right.
not going to charge you because you didn't feel comfortable coming into that appointment. I just want you to respect us and call us in advance.
Exactly.
But we're not doing those things because we know people need to be seen. So I definitely like the fact that this is giving me an opportunity to step back and re-examine some things.
Well, what we like to call that is that you're getting a balcony view of your business right now. You're getting to see everything from a whole nother perspective because when you're working it each
Mhm.
day,
Oh
you don't
man,
get to see it from those vantage points at all. And I love
right.
what Tiffany said. She was like, she keep hearing the same thing about using this time to reinvent your business. Oh, Dr.
Yep.
Celeste is on right now. She's another one of our sorority sisters, Dr.
Hello.
Jew. And
Hello.
so this is a time for you to kind of look at your business from a different view and make some changes for your patients. I too got those same type of calls, and I was telling people, we're at the end of the day, we are primary healthcare providers. And what I saw my need was to keep people out of the emergency room.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's what Dr. Celeste does. She's in the emergency room every day, and I'm quite sure she appreciated both me and you taking care of our patients so that she didn't have to continue to do what she was doing each day, plus deal with people talking about their back is hurting and they're having pelvic pain. I'm quite certain that
Right.
she was happy that we continued to provide our services in a private setting so that she didn't have to do that on top of trying
On
to take
top.
care
Right.
of those folks that are dealing with COVID. I know
Right.
I can attest to that. So when someone tells you that you can just close down and what in the patients that you're serving don't need that service, I disagree totally. We are helping to decrease the exposure at that hospital and in that emergency room. So
Absolutely.
kudos to you. So we are here today. We were just talking briefly about COVID and our bottom lines as it relates to our business, and just letting you know that we understand that we all have had to make some really hard decisions right now as it relates to our business. Those that
Yep.
have employees, we've had to have those hard conversations with them on what we're going to do and what we're not going to do. And we have been enlightened with some different views on how we're going to take our business to the next level after COVID, because that's what's really important, is using this time and really taking that information and
Mhm.
doing something with it. It's an opportunity to make our business better. So Dr.
Right.
Judah, you want to say one more last thing before I close out our show? Tell people how they can get in contact with you.
Oh, sure. So, we do telehealth visits, and the restrictions and the criteria are loosened regarding state lines as well. So, I'm not treating, your BV over the state line. But a discussion around female sexual health and sexual dysfunction, please visit our website at radiantwomenshealth.com or our Facebook at the same name. I do have an Instagram. I'm still trying to learn better to use it and not just be a Facebooker. But I tell folks that not that Twitter, but that Twitter account, yeah, you can tweet me, but I probably won't see it. But definitely
Is that
visit.
is that is that is that right? So the people can see it.
Yep.
Very good.
Excellent. So, I don't mind having, I think the conversation, and one of your guests said earlier, you got more time on your hands to sit home thinking about, you just got more time on your hands. And I had posted at the beginning of this. Now, for those of you who are booed up, social distancing they're not speaking to you. You still have a partner. So if you think that social distancing is a good answer for your partner tonight, you may just have what we call hypoactive sexual desire disorder. And we can treat that. So
Very,
we're here
very
for you.
good.
Thank you so much for the platform. This has
Oh,
been
yes.
great.
I am definitely going to be bringing you back, because before all this COVID came about, the big thing was to really highlight health disparities in the African American community. So I'm definitely going to have you come back, because I want to talk about that. Everybody wants to hear about what they can do to make sure that they get good portal to care when they're out there. So everybody, sharing is caring. So if you're watching this and you know that someone can really benefit from the information that we've discussed today, I want you to share it with them. Share it on your pages, share it with your groups. Also, if you are watching this after the live, if it doesn't have the red live in the corner, with that means you're watching the replay. So I want you to put hashtag replay in the comments. That way I can still say hello and answer any questions that you may have. Again, you know who I am. I am Dr. Nisa. I'm a nationally recognized chiropractor and business coach, and I help entrepreneurs successfully start their business by giving them the blueprint to turn their dreams into dividends. Guys, thank you so much for everything, and God bless. Mwah.